So we'll see. All right. Well, let's see. As we're getting everybody here, obviously, we got one more week to go here before fall break, one more week before your 9-week grade period ends. So let's see. We got a midterm on Wednesday. Okay. It'll be over that second half of chapter 1. So 1B. And that includes vocab, all the extracurricular activities, and saber and conocer, and comparisons. So those are kind of the 3 big topics. You had some practice on those last week. We'll do a little bit more on those today and tomorrow, but that's where we are headed. Somebody asked me about missing assignments. All right, I'm trying to be fairly generous about those, more so than I usually would. I guess what I would say is if you have something missing from this since midterm, okay, so from the last, 4 weeks or so, and you want to turn it in, I will probably give you some partial credit for that, okay? If it's like from the very first month of school, probably a little late, but if it's from the last month or so, I would probably still give you some points. So make sure you're working on filling in any holes that you might have. All right. Okay, so first thing I want to start with today is give you a few minutes on Quizlet to get yourself warmed up. We will do some Quizlet live later in the period. So I thought we'd kind of start and end with some vocab, and then we'll put some saber and conocer in the middle. All right, so if you have not yet gone to my current lesson, I would love for you to head there now, and you will notice under numero uno is the Quizlet link. I would like you to go do about like 7 minutes of practice, okay? A little more than 5, a little less than 10. So how will you be quizzed over your vocab? Well, you asked, it's not a big vocab quiz. All right. But what it will be is there'll be a little listening section where you need to know your vocab. There'll be a little reading section where you need to know your vocab. There'll be a little writing section where you might need to include a little vocab. So again, it's not like a traditional vocab quiz, but it will certainly be used on the midterm. So my suggestion would be make sure you can recognize everything at a minimum, and then, go from there. Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm starting your clock now. You got 7 minutes. Please spend it on vocab. All right, I'm not looking over your shoulder. You gotta be responsible for yourself and do what you need to do. Get yourself ready for Wednesday. All right, you can do flashcards, you can do a self-quiz, you can do a matching game, whatever you wanna do. Have your vocab out, don't have your vocab out, all up to you. All right, I'm gonna be quiet. If you have a question, put it in the chat. So finish up your whatever you were at. You can leave it open. We are going to do some Quizlet live towards the end of class here, but I want to come back together and work on some saber and conocer. So again, transitioning from what you were doing, we are going to do a quick little review video on saber and conocer. You have notes from saber and conocer from last Thursday. Feel free to pull those up if you want to look at them as well. You will need those shortly. You can find them under class resources, or you should have them on your own from class on Thursday, either in your Google Drive or you printed them off. So we are going to talk about saber and conocer. Do a quick review together. Before I start, raise your hand if you can tell me, what do saber and conocer both mean? What are we talking about here, just to get you back in mode? Problem is they both mean the same thing. What is it? Noah, what is it?
To know.
Yeah, thanks. So they both mean to know. It's like ser and a star that both mean to be, but in Spanish you have to remember, ser is for permanent things, a star is for feelings and location. So it's a similar type problem with saber. So there's different kinds of knowing. So I'm going to play this short video for you. All I want you to do is watch it, okay, and see if you can be refreshed by the time it is finished and able to answer some questions for me on saber and conocer. All right, so again, it's like a 2-minute video, but it's a really good review. It reviews why you use each one, it gives you some examples, and it reminds you that some of the forms, the yo form, is a little bit irregular. So please direct your attention up here. All right, so show me that you are now with me, and let's get some participation points. So again, if your camera is off, make sure you're using your little blue hand, and if your camera is on, then make sure you raise your hand. Let's see if we can get some points here. So from the top, saber and conocer, here is everything you need to know. First of all, what do they mean? Unique, what do they mean?
To know.
No, perfect. All right, and let's start with saber. So give me some examples of, like, give me one thing that you would use saber for. So that kind of to know. Start us off. Should have so many hands up because you either have your notes out or you just listened to that video and you are ready to get your point because you know you need a participation point. Vanessa, what's one reason I'd use saber?
To know the answer.
So to know an answer, okay? And I'm going to kind of expand that. That's like to know a fact, all right? So to know a fact or information, you would always use a form of saber, okay? Give me a little more. Tucker?
For saber,
Mm-hmm.
like if it's like an object or something like that.
Maybe, okay? That one's going to depend if it's like, if you're familiar with the object, that's actually not going to work. When you need saber, are you looking at your notes there at all, Tucker?
No.
Okay. All right. So if you pull out your notes, either from Thursday or look them up under class resources, there's like some specific reasons. So one of them we said was like a fact or information. Okay. Somebody else give me another one. Quentin.
To know where, when, how much, why, who, or what about something.
Perfect. All right. So listen, anytime you see a question word, like he said, who, what, when, where, why, how much, how many, that is going to give you a fact or information, kind of leads you back to the one that Vanessa just said, right? And that's going to make it saber. Perfect. Okay, there's two more special cases for saber. Bryson, what's one?
To know how to do something.
Perfect. To know how to do something. I know how to speak Spanish. I know how to play basketball. I know how to fish. Okay. As soon as you know how to do something, that's saber. And there's one more special case. Doesn't come up super often, but it's a special case. It's on my list. Raise your hand. I got all the same people that just got a point, which I appreciate your hands up. But let me get a new hand. Looking at your notes. What's it say? What's the last reason you would use saber? To be fair, this was not in the review video, so you have to look at your notes. Dalia, were you going to say something?
No, it accidentally unmuted.
Okay, I couldn't tell. All right, who's got it? Who's got it? Look at your notes. Help me out. Help me out. What's the last reason you would use saber? Oh, Quentin, help us. I can't wait any longer. Go ahead, Quentin.
To know information by heart.
Yeah. Thanks, Nora. I'll give you a point too. Nora put it in the chat. Yeah, if you can't raise your hand or your thing's not working, your microphone's not working, you can always put it in the chat. So yeah, to know something by heart, okay? To have memorized something like, oh, I know that song by heart. All right, perfect. Okay, so those are all reasons to use saber. So when would I use conocer? When would I use conocer? Deja.
When you're familiar with something.
When you're familiar with something, perfect. And I think that's probably, anybody have anything to add before I clarify that? Okay, so it's when you're familiar with something or someone. Okay, so like I know my students. I'm familiar with you guys. Okay, I know some of you, as I've met you in person. I know some of you from being online, but I'm familiar with you. Okay, I know North Central. I've been there. I know Indianapolis. Maybe even if I studied a place. I don't have to have actually been there. right? Maybe I did a lot of research on Colombia. I haven't been there, but I'm familiar with it. That can work for people too. In the little video, I think it was it Taylor Swift? That again, she didn't know personally, but she was familiar with her. So anytime you're familiar with a person or a place, all right? So the last thing you need to remember about conocer and saber is that they are irregular in their yo forms. Could someone raise your hand real quick and tell me what is the yo form of saber? How do you say I know? I know. Charles.
Say.
Mm-hmm. Say. It's S-E with a little accent. If you don't know, you say no say. I don't know. All right, and how would you say I know as in conocer? I'm familiar with you. What's that one look like? I am familiar with. Victoria.
Conosco.
Perfect. You pronounced it just right. Conosco. It just has an extra Z in there, so it's not Conoco. All right, so here's your job. If you've been paying attention, you should be able to show me number 3 says, do you get it? So I want you to show me right now by answering these 5 questions, do you get it? So if you click on this, you have to go to your current lesson, click on number 3, do you get it? All right, I have 5 questions for you to fill in. I tried to make them super straightforward. All right, so literally if you've been paying attention for the last 5-ish minutes, you should be good. Look, I only gave you 2 choices. I gave you the yo form of saber, the yo form of conocer. I gave you the eos form of conocer, the eos form of saber. So they all mean to know. So you're going to have to look at it and decide, is it to know a fact or information? Is it to know something by heart? Is it to know how to do something? All right, versus is it being familiar with a person or a place? Okay, so I will pause here. You need to start now so that we can all finish at about the same time. I think I gave you 2 chances, so if you make a silly mistake, go back and fix it, and then we'll go through them. All right, so go there right now. On it. If you're done, then you can look at your quiz or you can look at mine. And let's see if we can't talk these through, make sure everybody understands them. Like I said, I have to set it up as a quiz, but of course it's not really a quiz yet. All right. So what I'm looking for is a volunteer to help explain number 1. Give us the answer, tell us why. And of course, if you haven't gone today, I would prefer you to volunteer. And if you miss something or you don't understand, make sure you're paying attention. All right, Sylvia, I want to try number 1. Tell us about it.
I put say because of the fact. Like, I know how to speak Spanish.
Right, so I agree. It should be yo sé, and it's because you know how to do something. Please go. Okay, go. Go. All right. Perfect. All right, so yo sé, I know how to do something. Number 2, tell me about ellos know, so they know their friends. They know their friends. Which one is it going to be and why? Abdullah.
I put ellos conocen because they know somebody, like their friends, they actually know them.
Yeah, they know them as in they're familiar with them, right? And a good little hint here, everybody, look, this little if you're talking about a person, there's always going to be an after conocer. So that's kind of a little giveaway if you remember that little hint. All right, let's try number 3. Nosotros, so we know North Central. What do you think about number 3? We know North Central. What are you thinking? Let's see. How about Mayana? What'd you put for that one? We know North Central. Okay, how about Sam? Okay, how about, oh, I know you're here, Dalia. What'd you put for that one? You can use a point. Talk me through it. What do you think? We know North Central.
I chose how you say it?
Conocemos.
Yeah.
And you're right. Why'd you pick it? What do we know? What are we familiar with?
I just thought it made more sense.
Yeah, think about it. We know North Central. Is North Central a place?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to know a person, like up here, or to know a place, like North Central, you use conocemos, okay? So again, anytime you're familiar with a person or a place, use conocer. Good. All right, number 4. Ella blank el poema de memoria. This is like a very specific case. Whitney, want to do that one? What are you thinking, Whitney?
I put sabe.
Perfect. Why'd you put that? What's it mean?
Because it's like remembering a poem.
Yeah, like knowing a poem by heart. Perfect. And that's a special case to use saber. All right, last one. Tu blank, ¿cuántos años tienes? You know how old you are. Let me think about that one. You know how old you are. You know how old you are. I think everybody I've tried to call in has a point. Anybody want your second? What do you think? What do you think? Elizabeth. What do you think?
Sabe.
Because you want to know what? What's cuántos años tienes? What's cuántos años? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
To know how old you are.
Yeah, perfect. So that's a fact, right? And you see the question word, cuántos. Remember, anytime you see a question word, who, what, when, where, you're going to get to a fact, which is saber. All right, good. Any questions about those 5 for the good of the group? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, hopefully you did pretty well. Those are some good sample questions. That's what you have to do. You got to be able to translate it and know when to use saber, when to use conocer. All right. I would like to finish up with a little Quizlet Live today. So you should go to Quizlet Live and I will get you a code here. In just a second. You can use your vocab or not, up to you. If you feel like you know it pretty well, don't use it. If you need your vocab, get out your list. Let's see, I think we'll go this way. All right, so Quizlet.live, here's your code, get your name in, and we'll play a couple rounds. Thanks, Quentin. Any other questions, please stay online. Otherwise, make sure you get your textbook activities caught up to date, and I will see you tomorrow. Hasta luego.